This is CBS.
Coming up on Eyewitness News Night Watch, Governor Romer looks into allegations of widespread wrongdoing at Nicholls State University.
New Orleans police arrest a suspect in the murder of a mid-city shop owner and representing Louisiana's interest at the upcoming OPEC oil meeting.
Eyewitness News is next.
WWL-TV Channel 4, New Orleans. Garland Robinette, Angela Hill, Jem Henderson, and meteorologist Dave Barnes. Louisiana's news leader, Channel 4's Eyewitness News Night Watch.
Good evening, everyone. Alleged wrongdoings at Nicholls State University. The concern over the ongoing probe at the college grew wider today.
Powerful business interests met behind closed doors today about his investigation into charges of misuse of funds. As Mike Longman reports, the head-to-head meeting took place as the Inspector General is now putting final touches on his probe.
With the continuing threat of a potentially harsh Inspector General's report now hanging over the head of Nicholls State University, some of Lafourche Parish's most powerful and politically connected citizens paid a call on the governor.
How you doing?
Kitty, do it.
I do. Good.
Bankers, lawyers, and the second-ranking member of the State House.
What was the purpose of the meeting today? To head off the Inspector General's report?
No, it sure wasn't. We had a group of businessmen who met with the governor to discuss the role of Nicholls in the future.
If this was not an effort by heavyweights to head off a report, why did everybody go down the back door?
I didn't know. I was staying in to discuss some fiscal reform, which we discussed with the governor.
During their closed-door meeting, the Nicholls delegation asked for and received assurances from Governor Romer concerning the handling of the yet-to-be-released Inspector General's report.
What they asked for was that when I got the full presentation of the fact, that the university could review it. I think that's fair.
In fact, Representative Downer walked away believing the promise meant his entire business delegation would have an advanced look at the report.
And I think that was nice news to know that at least the community would have some, the business leaders and those who are concerned about the university would have some idea of what's going on, other than what they have heard in the news media.
The news in the media about Nicholls has not been good since 9 investigators began combing the campus back in June. A dean in the registrar's office has been suspended. The school library has been scrutinized for possible wrongdoing, with state investigators padlocking an expensive rare books collection. And at least one aspect of the ongoing probe has triggered a companion investigation by the white-collar crimes unit of the state police.
A couple days ago,
Things are coming to a head in Baton Rouge now because a draft of the final report has been delivered to Governor Romer.
Well, I tell you what I saw. I saw a preliminary summary of fact.
Sources tell Eyewitness News the current draft of the Inspector General's report amounts to a scathing indictment of the way Donald Io and his administration have been conducting business at Nicholls State. Dr. Io began his tenure at Nicholls in the 80s. In fact, sources say the Inspector General's investigation goes back to consider problems at Nicholls even before Io's time. But as the probe reaches its conclusion, at very least it appears problems persist at the school's farm, its library, and the registrar's office. Mike Longman, Eyewitness News, Night Watch.
Sources tell Eyewitness News the investigation has been completed. All that must be done now, the probe, is that charges must be listed in a final report.
The Police Association of New Orleans says it will stand up for the rights of a police captain forced to leave the department this past Tuesday. Captain Lorenzo Knight, a 22-year police veteran, was forced into involuntary retirement after allegedly making a racial slur about black female police officers. Tonight, panel President Ron Canatella said while his organization certainly doesn't condone the use of such racial language, he feels the punishment does not fit the crime.
A statement like that. And I think that it's something, whether you're black or white, we should look at that and say, is this man's career worth a word?
While the Black Organization of Police feels this one incident is just a symptom of a much larger black-white problem, Canatella says no. He does not believe racism is running rampant through the police department.
Well, whether there are, in fact, racial tensions within the police department, as some would suggest, is one question.
A second question centers around an incident now under investigation by the Justice Department.
It concerns a group of white police officers who allegedly beat 2 black burglary suspects so badly they ended up in Charity Hospital. When the two young black men were arrested for allegedly breaking into the home of a New Orleans police officer, few people took notice. But it was that incident and what happened after that that sparked the major federal investigation into allegations of police brutality by certain members of the New Orleans Police Department. And as Heath Allen learned today, the case never even made it to trial.
The federal probe into the alleged police brutality by New Orleans police officers started February 4th this year when Juan Matthews and Reynold Eugene, both 18 and both black, were arrested for reportedly breaking into the home of a white New Orleans police officer. These police records indicate that on that night, both Eugene and Matthews were seen inside this residence on Knight Street. It's the home of police officer Brian Jackman. He saw them. He called other police officers to the scene. Well, a chase ensued, and apparently so did a struggle. Responding to the call at the home of Officer Brian Jackman were officers Chetley Ballock and Charles Alonzo. Criminal court records reveal Eugene complained of abuse that night. They just beat up on me, punched me in the face, kicked me in the ribs. Records on Matthews show him being booked through Charity Hospital, but those same documents show both men being charged with battery on a police officer and resisting arrest. Because the suspects were black and the police officers were white, and because at least one black police officer has told a federal grand jury what he knows about that alleged beating, the incident has taken on racial overtones and incidents of retaliation. But U.S. Attorney John Volz plays down the racial aspect.
But that's not the relevant claim as far as we're concerned. It's the police brutality, whether the officers were white or black. It doesn't make any difference.
By mid-August, charges against both men had been dropped. The officers involved had refused to testify, but the two men had taken their brutality complaints to federal authorities and have reportedly testified in the federal grand jury probe. Now the Eugene family is moving, reportedly to escape retaliation, and members of the Matthews family will only speak through their attorneys because of the same fear.
Are the victims of harassment at this point?
Well, I think any situation when you've got a police officer that's being harassed, there's no telling, what may happen to an ordinary citizen. I think that's just a logical assumption.
For now, more than a dozen police officers have been called to testify before the grand jury investigating the police brutality complaint. Several officers have been reassigned in the wake of the probe. Heath Allen, Eyewitness News, Night Watch.
A North Carolina man is free on $1,000 bond tonight after being arrested in Jefferson Parish on weapons charges. 26-year-old William Stanley claims he is a member of the Greenpeace environmental activist group who has been following the Greenpeace boat. Greenpeace officials say Stanley is not affiliated with their group. The weapon is a 12-gauge sawed-off shotgun.
Which is illegal to possess. It's a sawed-off shotgun way below the limits.
Officials say Stanley is a canoeist who follows the Greenpeace boat, the Beluga. Well, demonstrators taking part in what's being called the Louisiana Toxics March could face arrest in Jefferson Parish tomorrow. Sheriff Harry Lee is reportedly requiring the group to pay a $300 parade permit fee. The group says it can't afford it and that Lee never told them it would be necessary when they were planning the march. The group could face the same problem in New Orleans on Saturday.
One New Orleans teenager is dead, another in jail tonight after an accidental shooting. Police say two 16-year-olds were playing with a .25 caliber handgun on North Claiborne Avenue when the gun discharged. The bullet hit one of the boys in the chest. He was rushed to Charity Hospital where he died a short time later. The second youth has been booked with negligent homicide. A New Orleans man has been booked with the murder of a Clio Street grocery store owner. Police say 22-year-old Ronald Anderson was the trigger man during an armed robbery at a Clio Street store last Wednesday. Anderson was arrested tonight at his Clio Street apartment. He will be charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery. The second suspect is still at large.
Just ahead, Governor John Sununu joins the A-team in Washington.
And the California landlady suspected of killing her tenants is found.
Catch that new car fever, West Bank style.
A new West Bank bridge, cool weather, football, holiday shopping, and a West Bank Red Tag Christmas sale. Prices so low there's no time for dickering. Save hundreds, even thousands on 2,000 new and used cars and trucks, each with a red tag and markdown so serious. Prices so low, cut so deep, you may get the buy of a lifetime. 4 days only during the West Bank dealer's fantastic Red Tag Christmas sale.
Catch the fever.
West Bank style.
When it comes to your valuables, you want maximum protection, maximum safety. You want your savings to be federally insured. You want your money to be absolutely safe. Pelican Homestead has sophisticated security systems in every office statewide. State-of-the-art computers keep track of all transactions. Account histories are stored off-site daily for safety. You want all the peace of mind you can get. That's why you should bank at Pelican Homestead, serving Louisiana since 1922. Member FSLIC.
There are lots of reasons to like the new Mazda SE5. For starters, it's been rated #1 in overall customer satisfaction 3 straight years, which simply means Mazda builds reliable trucks. Then, there's that sporty styling and trusty 2.2-liter overhead cam engine. Best of all, there's a new SE5 waiting for you right now.
Get a great deal at Bailey Mazda, Dick Parker Mazda, John Brown Mazda, Gene Ducote Mazda, and Royal Mazda.
Louisiana's oil industry will be watching the meeting of OPEC oil ministers in Vienna very closely this weekend. Unless the OPEC nations agree on new production limits, Saudi Arabia threatens to sell all the oil it can produce. And if that happens, the Saudis could drive down the price of oil drastically.
That price is probably somewhere between the $4 and $8 a barrel range. And as staggering as that sounds, that's the risk they run if they don't get together.
State Senator Sammy Nunes will travel to Austria to sit in on part of the OPEC meeting.
More of President-elect Bush's team is in place tonight. Bush has chosen New Hampshire Governor John Sununu to be his White House Chief of Staff. Bush says it's Sununu's ability to work with both Republicans and Democrats that helped him win the position.
Clearly, the challenges this country has have to be dealt with on a bipartisan basis, and I recognize that, and I look forward to working with both Republican and Democrat leadership in the House and Senate. And one of the nice things I feel about having the announcement this early is that I will get a chance to begin to spend some time over there working out the kind of agenda that's necessary to get good cooperation.
Bush also recommended his campaign manager Lee Atwater to replace Frank Fahrenkampf as chairman of the Republican National Committee. Earlier today, Bush met with British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher on her last day in the United States. Thatcher expressed confidence in Bush and his ability to deal with the federal budget deficit. She also said that the president-elect's wide experience in government will serve him well as the commander-in-chief.
Sacramento police are questioning an elderly landlady who they think may have poisoned 7 of her tenants to cash in on their Social Security checks. Los Angeles police today arrested Dorothea Montalvo Puente, in charge with murdering 7 residents of her boarding home. Puente did not enter a plea when she was arraigned this afternoon. Police apprehended her with the help of a local man who recognized the woman in a bar. He had seen her picture on a television newscast. Louisiana's First Lady is following in the footsteps of the future First Lady, Barbara Bush, to help combat the problem of illiteracy. Today, Patty Romer announced the formation of a statewide task force to deal with Louisiana's growing number of illiterate adults. Mrs. Romer says it's a problem that affects all of us.
It's time for the community to become deeply involved. It's time for each one of us in this room to decide that Louisiana can no longer afford illiteracy. It's time for us to understand that the depth of illiteracy in this state affects each one of us very deeply in our quality of life.
There are now more than 350,000 adult Louisiana residents who cannot fill out simple applications, read prescriptions, or read traffic signs.
Millions of Americans kick the habit today. Each year on this date, smokers are asked to put aside their cigarettes and take part in the Great American Smokeout. The day is designed to help smokers see that they can live without the effects of tobacco. But you probably couldn't convince Carrie White of Palatka, Florida, that tobacco is bad for you. She's been chewing it for a long time. Tomorrow, Carrie turns 114 years old. The Guinness Book of World Records calls her the oldest woman in the world.
If she keeps it up, it's going to kill her.
That's right.
Just ahead, Jim talks to Archie about this weekend's matchup with the Orange Crush.
And Frank Davis quacks up in this week's Fish and Game Report.
Buick Regal, one of America's hottest-selling coupes.
Better than ever.
Now comes a dramatically restyled 4-door Buick, the new '89 Century.
What could be better than a Buick
Now get introductory factory savings up to $1,500. That's $500 factory cash back plus up to $1,000 auction package savings. Total savings up to $1,500. But hurry, this combined offer is for a limited time.
Buick.
Step into the next century and save.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
Leap and Lizards, hold on to your hats for the greatest sell ever on Nakona boots at Denard's. For 1 week only, November 13th to 20th, Denard's 4 locations are selling Nakona boots at unheard of prices. Nakona Exotic Lizard boots are regularly $260, but now are on sale for only $139.99. Nakona Exotic Snakeskin boots regularly $260, but now you can get all Nakona Imperfect Exotics for just $139.99. Nakona Cowhides are ordinarily $190. Now get all your Nakona Imperfect Cowhides for just $69.99. At these great prices, you can afford to make every Christmas gift a pair of Nakona boots from Denard's. 4 locations to serve you.
It's holiday shopping without the hassle. Holiday Marketplace 88 at the Rivergate, November 17th through 19th. Sponsored by the Junior League of New Orleans.
For everything you need, Sears to you this holiday season.
Friday and Saturday, your choice of a VCR or 19-inch color TV, $197. A 3/8-inch drill is $39.99. And register to win one of 10 Premier Cruise and Walt Disney World Week vacations for 4. Your money's worth and a whole lot more. Just one of the ways we're saying Sears to you this holiday season.
For under $10,000, step up to Buick Luxury with Skyhawk. One more way Buick is better.
The great American road belongs to Buick.
Fishing might be a little off this week because of a changing weather pattern and invading cold fronts, but not to worry. Frank Davis says this weekend it won't matter a bit because this weekend the main thing that's on every outdoorsman's mind is duck hunting.
Well, on days like today, you clean the boat and you leave it tied up to the dock. Because you know, it's kind of hard to fish and throw up at the same time. Small craft warnings are bad. But if you say, well, if I can't go fishing, what am I going to do? I got an answer for you. Look at the hunting that's opening this weekend. Check this out.
Squirrel, snipe, and rabbit season opened early, and they extend well into 1989. And beginning Saturday morning, the entire state will be open to deer hunting. But none of those is tops on the outdoor calendar this weekend, because this weekend the emphasis is on ducks. But let me remind you that this season we're operating on a whole new set of waterfowl regulations. First, the point system is gone. You can have 3 ducks in the bag limit, plus 5 mergansers, plus 15 pulldu. That's if you're having a super good day. Then you gotta remember that the shooting hours change. This year you can hunt from sunrise to sunset, period. And finally, it's gonna be imperative that you pick up a copy of the Louisiana waterfowl pamphlet and double check the new restrictions, like where you need to use steel shot, how many of each duck you can have in your possession, and what public lands are open to you.
Now let me show you something. In addition to hunting on Louisiana's public properties, you also have 2 federal properties in the state you can hunt on. Go to your sheriff's office and pick up copies of Boga Cheetah and Delta National Refuge. Good spots down there.
So is the Louisiana duck hunter ready for the season, in spite of the reduced bag limits?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been waiting since last year when it closed.
So okay, let me give you a few last-minute tips. If you're going out opening day, be sure you get to the blind early and blind extremely well. Then, because you're going to be using steel shot, pick and choose your shots carefully. Let them come in close. Double check the lead before you squeeze the trigger. And use about a dozen extra decoys to coax them into easy shot range. But most important, don't shoot canvasbacks and Canada geese. Those seasons are closed.
With the Fishing Game Report, I'm Frank Davis for Eyewitness News Night Watch.
Crazy guy. Archie is here tonight. He has on his very special socks, the white socks. We got to get a picture of those socks, frame them, give them out as Christmas presents. These may be the winning socks, right, Archie?
Right.
It started another streak.
We got another streak going.
Very, very good. Jim wants to talk about other sports, but...
It's the same outfit he wore to his senior prom in Drew, by the way. The same look. Suit, white socks, loafers. It's coming back. It's a very nice look. We'll get to Arch in a second. First of all, the Trojans of Central Lafourche brought a bunch of fans from down the bayou to cheer their mumps-riddled team against Kennedy tonight in a Quad A regional playoff game at Tad Gormley. 5 Trojan starters were missing with the mumps. The Trojan fans turned out in big numbers to watch the remainder. After a scoreless first quarter, Nick Arsemal hits Vontrell Fulse with a little hook that turns into a big gain. Fulse finishes off a 64-yard touchdown, and that puts Central Lafourche up 7-0. Later in the second quarter, it's Arsemal firing to Matt Hodson. Yes, Tommy's brother, 25 yards. That made it 14-0, and Central Lafourche on its way tonight. They continue to advance through the playoffs as they knock off Kennedy by a score of 21-7. And here's a little bit of the look of the defense that Central Lafourche employed, limiting Kennedy to just 7 points in that victory. LSU and Miami haven't met since 1967. The series is only 10 games old, with LSU on top 8-2. So there's not much tradition here, but there is some sentiment for the opposition. Tiger head coach Mike Archer played and coached at Miami, and he admits he's had November 19th on his mind, but things will change come kickoff.
Yeah, I've thought about it for 4 years when I found out we were playing them when I got here. But, you know, it's no different than the other game for me. I mean, I have a job to do, and I can assure you that we're going to do everything we can to win. And I've got a lot of friends on that staff and people who will be here. But for 60 minutes on Saturday night, there are no friends.
What would the Boston Celtics be without Larry Bird? We're about to find out. Bird will be lost to the Celtics for a minimum of 3 months, as it was determined today that he'll undergo surgery for removal of bone spurs from both heels. Also removed today, Indiana Pacer coach Jack Ramsey. Ramsey quit with his Pacers 0-7 this season.
The team wasn't going where I felt it should go or where I wanted it to go. And it really wasn't any fun for me. You got to have fun with your work and you have to enjoy it, and I wasn't experiencing that.
Another winless team like the Pacers, the Miami Heat. They enjoyed a brief lead in the first half against the Houston Rockets. Ronnie Cycli there with the finger roll, but Akeem Olajuwon showed him how the veterans play in the pivot. He had 22 first half points, and Houston held on to defeat Miami tonight. The Heat still winless by a score of 113-107. It was New Jersey knocking off Milwaukee 105-96, and Dallas whipping Charlotte 105-93. The Denver Broncos, Archie, coming up on Sunday, a team the Saints have only faced 4 times, just once here, that way back in 1970. The past 2 Super Bowls, particularly last year, a fast start, and then they just got blown away the rest of the way. A lot of people think they're a finesse team, undersized defensively, that you can outmuscle them.
Well, they're smaller in their line, offensive and defensive line, but I don't buy all that finesse stuff. They tackle and block just like everyone else. They're a good team. After getting blown out by the Redskins, though, in drafting a lineman in the first round, I thought they'd draft a bigger lineman. They drafted Ted Gregory.
And then they got rid of him, and they did get a bigger lineman in Sean Knight. But
he's running down on kickoffs.
Yeah, neither's doing too much for either side. Talking about Denver, they've been blown out by the Steelers, blown out by the Colts. They barely beat the Chiefs. Then they come back and wallop the Browns last week. Very much an up-and-down, erratic team. Why so many big, one-sided losses?
Oh, I think they go as John Elway goes. So much discussion last year about that Elway's a one-man team, but when he was hurt, they lost. When he wasn't 100%, it didn't seem like the team played 100%. John Elway is, I think he's the most exciting player, Jim, to come in the league in the last 15 years. The first time I saw him play, I saw him make throws across the field like I've never seen any quarterback make. When we were with the Vikings, he threw so many, he threw 4 touchdowns in the first half. That horse that runs around the stadium overheated and couldn't come out for the second half.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen on Sunday. How would you defend a guy like Elway who's so maneuverable?
It's a real dilemma for defensive coaches. You want to put pressure on the guy. You put too much pressure, you're not under control. He runs around. That's when a quarterback like John Elway makes the big plays, is when he's scrambling. It's a real problem. Like Steve Sidwell says, though, you just got to go out and play, and I think that's what the Saints will do.
Ball control, perhaps the key for the Saints
again. That'd be good. They're
Sunday.
27th against the rush, so it'd be nice to run the football and control it and keep it away from John Elway.
Certainly the Saints will be trying to do that. Looking forward to Sunday, as I know you guys are.
That's going to be a wonderful game. Other things are going on this weekend. We have the Shakespearean Festival, which is continuing at Newman School, and you can get tickets at Ticketmaster. That's through Sunday rather. And Jesuit High School is putting on a wonderful performance of the musical Grease, and you can call the school for more information. That's Friday and Saturday night. And we also have some more craft fairs at the La Salite Center in Golden Meadow. They're going to have a wonderful craft fair with all kinds of arts and crafts. St. Mark Church in Chalmette is also having one, and St. Anne Church is having its 4th annual craft fair, and that's on Loveland Street in Metairie.
And coming up, despite this week's weather, it's Christmas time in the city.
That story, along with Dave's forecast, next.
He's coming back.
You could win a private screening of E.T. in a theater filled with your friends.
Plus a VCR and a copy of E.T. the videotape, or a bike with an E.T. doll in the basket.
Watch the Popeye and Pals E.T. Trivia Contest.
And send a postcard with the correct answer to WWL-TV. Watch Popeye and Pals, 9 a.m. this Saturday. Brought to you by Channel 4 and Pepsi-Cola, the choice of a new generation.
What happens to solid hazardous waste? If your company brings 1 truckload to an incinerator, 1 truckload of hazardous ash is landfilled and 5 truckloads of hazardous liquids are created, increasing your liability. At Marine Shale Processors of Louisiana, with our dry spray reactor, a truckload of your solid waste will produce 1/3 truckload of environmentally safe aggregate with no liability. Want to know more? Call 1-800-USA-MSPI, Marine Shale Processors of Louisiana.
Well, Pilgrims, it's that time of year. Time for families, friends, and food.
Enjoy Winn-Dixie's Grade A Young Turkey, 59 cents a pound. Dixie Darling Brown and Serve rolls are 2 for 99 cents. Buy Harvest Fresh Red and Golden Delicious apples for 49 cents a pound. 2-liter Coke or Pepsi is only 77 cents. And you get double coupons every day at Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
I see you're a leg man.
Superior Honda has hundreds of great reasons why Honda buyers love us.
Superior selection.
And the way we treat our customers.
Superior consideration.
Our people make you feel comfortable and give you
superior buys, like this '89 LXI for only $15,289.
And the way we treat you and your Honda with
superior service.
Before you buy any car, come see the area's oldest Honda dealer, Superior Honda on the West Bank. You're gonna love us.
Coming up tomorrow, we'll meet a famed walking expert who is in town to talk about health and fitness through walking. And Percussion Incorporated will be performing for us. Join us tomorrow.
Each year, Americans count the days until Christmas. There are 38 days left, in case you were wondering. But tonight in downtown New Orleans, residents counted down another yearly tradition.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The biggest and brightest Christmas tree in New Orleans was lit tonight at Canal Place. Each year, 10,000 lights are strung on a 50-foot blue spruce. The tree highlights the annual lighting of Canal Street, which is sponsored by the Downtown Development District.
Kind of feels like Christmas time weather out there tonight, but it won't last, I understand.
The Christmas lights were lit?
Yes.
I must have slept through Thanksgiving, huh?
No, we're just getting a head start. It's going to be beautiful.
We're getting a head start. You know what there is in the Caribbean this evening?
Don't
Water.
tell me.
A depression, a tropical depression. It is so little to worry about that I'm not even going to show you a picture of it. What do you think of that?
But you told us about it.
Well, I know, but it's nothing for us to worry about. Okay, so we won't talk about it anymore. 60 degrees, the current temperature at the airport. It's also 60 at Audubon. The Slidell temperature reads 52. The humidity is 55%. Winds blowing from the east now at 9 miles per hour. And the pressure is 30, 17, and steady. The temperatures south of the lake are all right at 60 degrees. 60 degrees at Terrytown, also Belle Chase, Audubon, and Kenner. But to the north, it's in the 50s, so a little cooler up there. And there are some clouds moving in from the west, so I think our coolest temperatures will end up being perhaps to the northeast of us, and we won't drop at another 5 or 6 degrees tonight. The front is now moving northward as a warm front, but very slowly, and the big low-pressure system in the center of that winter storm is moving on out of the Rockies, and by tomorrow at midday and tomorrow evening it'll be in the Great Plains, bringing snow to the upper Midwest and also still to the Rockies, where I'm sure some areas are going to get at least a foot of snow. But for us, it means we do have an increasing chance for showers over the next few days. Best chance at this point looks like Saturday night and on Sunday. But tomorrow we should see at least some increase in cloudiness. And our high temperatures tomorrow throughout most of the southeast will be in the 60s and 70s, although South Texas and Florida will be in the mid to low 80s. In the northeastern part of the country, look for the high temperatures tomorrow to be in the 40s and in the 50s. Chicago is expecting 53 degrees, Oklahoma City 56. Here's the overnight forecast now. Partly cloudy with most of the low temperatures south of the lake in the low to mid 50s, north of the lake in the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. I think the chance for showers will remain very low tomorrow, but maybe by tomorrow evening there could be a few spotty showers around. The highs tomorrow will be somewhere in the low to mid 70s. And for the game at LSU on Saturday night, it looks like it'll be mild with just a chance for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. So take an umbrella to play it safe, but there's an equal chance that it'll remain dry. The extended forecast indicates pretty good chance for showers over the weekend. Again, the best chance would be Saturday night and on Sunday. It'll be clearing out Sunday night, early on Monday as well, and it'll be cooler On Monday and Tuesday, it'll feel like fall again. Small craft advisory continues in effect for east to northeast winds tonight, becoming east to southeast tomorrow, 12 to 22 knots, and there'll be some spotty rain working its way into the coastal waters on Friday. The lake temperature stands at 66, sea temperature 70, average range on the tides 1/2 of 1 foot. So it's going to become warm and humid over the weekend, chance for showers, then your beautiful fall weather will return.
Wonderful.
Good.
Thanks, Dave. When we come back, the freshest bouquet.
Beaujolais nouveau next.
And finally, good times ran like wine through the streets of our city today, or rather they ran with wine. Hundreds of local residents welcomed the arrival of Beaujolais Nouveau. It is the first wine of this year's French grape harvest, and as is customary, this was the first day for it to hit the market. Tom Foreman has the story.
A bouquet. And it wasn't just the bouquet they were after, as dozens of Frenchmen and Americans alike converged for the first hint of how good this year will be for wine lovers.
He has more body than the previous year, in my opinion.
We were lucky to have it a little bit earlier this year, so it tastes a little bit better.
This does wonders for Franco-American relations. I recommend it highly to anybody interested in joining the World Council.
Of course, no one ever really says anything bad about the first wine of the year. The whole point of this celebration is, after all, to promote wine, and it's working.
It's very good for wine in general. People are going away of whiskey, martini, heavy stuff, and going to something, I think, more healthy with a lot of grape in it.
Indeed, from the very biggest of local wine wholesalers, right down to the very smallest of retailers, they have seen the demand for Beaujolais Nouveau grow rapidly over the past few years.
This year we anticipate this going much faster than even last year. We hope, in fact.
Still, for whatever contrivance may be driving the Beaujolais boom, creating this first-day mania, no one is complaining. Least of all, this fellow. He's the French Minister for Relations with the entire French-speaking world, sampling the Beaujolais Nouveau here today for the first time outside of his home country.
I do that in France, of course, every year. It's the first time I do it abroad, and I'm especially happy that I do it in Louisiana, which has so much close ties with France.
It could be one day that the growing popularity of Beaujolais Nouveau will be its own downfall. Every year, the search for the first bottle gets a little tougher and a little tougher. Every year, the fight for the first taste, a little harder and a little harder. Yep, a remarkably difficult assignment for Tom Foreman, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
Said he liked this stuff. He'd rather a little new wine there. That's news for this Thursday, November the 17th. We thank you for watching.
Have a great day tomorrow, and good night.
It's Hyundai's cash clearance. Better get a move on. Hurry into your Hyundai dealer without delay, because right now, he's got the best deals going on brand new Hyundai Excels. Right now, you can save up to $500 on Excels, sedans, and hatchbacks. America's #1 selling import has never been priced better. But hurry, Hyundai's cash clearance can't last forever, so get down to your Hyundai dealer. He could save you up to $500 right now.
So they'd rent a camp and the whole family would come out and spend a week. This was a big vacation for a lot of people.
It is largely a product of Abe Shushan and other men who ran the levee board in those early years.
It was home to amusement parks, a German prison, and an old Spanish fort. Discover the area originally called New Lake End, the lakefront. Join Frank Davis for A Crescent City Scrapbook, tomorrow night at 6 on Channel 4's Eyewitness News.
Well, home so soon? So what did you decide on?
I bought a Mercury.
You did?
A Mercury Topaz.
Weren't you looking at
Pontiac Grand Am?
Yeah.
I was, but when I compared all the stuff I wanted, I got the Topaz GS for over $1,000 less.
Wow. Hey, what's the GS mean?
Right now, Dad, it means going shopping.
Going shopping. That's my girl.
Mercury Topaz, a value that's well worth looking into. Only at your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
If you're a nurse, your priceless skills are worth more at Turo. Find out just how much more. Don't miss the full-page Turo ad in this Sunday's classified section.
If you're not sure who has the #1 cars and trucks, I'm here to set the record straight. The #1 selling car in the world is a Ford. The #1 car in the U.S. is a Ford. The #1 truck in the U.S. is a Ford. The #1 cars in Louisiana are Fords. The #1 trucks in Louisiana are Fords. The #1 cars in New Orleans are Fords. The #1 trucks in New Orleans are Fords. Now, is there any question about who the #1 dealers are? Lamarck, Bill Watson, Bone, Crescent Truck, and Don Bone Ford.
We've got our eye on the road with Traffic Watch tomorrow morning.